And here we go. Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, just would love to hear your story, Evan, of really your wellness journey. I'm so excited to have you here and thank you so much for sharing. It's really a great honor and privilege for anyone to just share their story, their health journey, their wellness journey, because it's not easy. We live in a country where we constantly have a lot of yummy foods wherever we go. It's just part of our lifestyle. We enjoy going out with friends and family and just celebrating life. And there's a lot of yummy foods like some sweets and breads and things like that. So I think that was the biggest part of your journey that I'd love to talk about is, it's some health conditions that started your journey into and the why you decided to go the holistic route. And then what was the hardest thing that you had to overcome and some of your challenges. So let's start with Evan. What were some fundamental primary concerns that you worked with that that you decided to go the holistic route? Let's start there.
Sure. I think that we have to go back a little ways because I'm not the spring chicken that I once was. And really, when I started looking at holistic health, was after an experience where I visited my primary care doctor, was talking about falling asleep in rush hour traffic because I was so tired. I crashed so badly in the afternoons. And I just didn't feel it was safe. And at that point, I was under the complete belief that my physician was the person that you talk to about things like this. Well, this was in the era of when we were prescribing antidepressants. And so she prescribed Prozac. I took it for a couple of weeks, had a very strange out of body experience that's a story for another day, and suddenly had a moment where I thought to myself, wait a minute, just from a purely logical perspective, why would I be depressed between 3 and 7? If I'm depressed, I'm depressed. If you're not, you're not. But that window seemed really odd to me. So I immediately called the doctor because she had said, don't just stop the antidepressants, and got off that medication. But it made me start to wonder if there wasn't a better way to approach this energy crash. And that really, Temna, started my journey, which has been a crazy, almost looking like family circle in all sorts of little dots and whatever, some good, some bad. And somewhere along that journey, you and I crossed paths. And if I recall correctly, it wasn't even because I was using you as a practitioner. I just happened to be in the lobby of a place where you were practicing out of at the time. And we had a conversation, and there was just a connection. And that was probably, I dare say, 15 or 20 years ago, because I've been retired about 10. But I've used acupuncture, I've used all sorts of um, vitamin protocols, signed up with a lot of people for their 12-week programs. And what I have found is that even though they talk about customization, it was really never customized for me, or it never felt like it was customized for me. And so I took a pause from this whole wellness journey because it gets exhausting to try to find the right practitioners. And then it just so happened, providentially, that you and I ran into each other on the Greenway. And you re-invited me for lunch and we reconnected. And at that point, you had explored this new technology and were just so excited to share it and shared really interesting stories. And we talked about it and decided that really it would be beneficial for me to take on your 12-week program. So I did. And I wasn't the best patient ever. I
Yeah.
think that you will probably agree. But people, what I really want you to hear is that I wasn't a great patient. In fact, Temple would probably tell you she didn't think I was going to make it 2 weeks.
Now that I'll say. But I kept going with you. I said, come on, Evan.
And the biggest challenge was the sugar addiction.
Mhm.
And it still plagues me. I'm not going to say that it completely went away in 12 weeks and that it's, oh, smooth sailing till now. But what I will say is in the course of that 12 weeks, I realized how much change could happen in a short period of time, that I could stay away from refined sugar, and that I had some tools that I could use moving forward when I had slip ups, which people are going to do. So the 12-week journey is different for everybody. I don't know what your 12-week journey with Temna would look like. I just know what mine looked like. And I know that she was available to me, that she heard all my complaints. She adapted the weekly protocol and made it something I felt I could do, instead of letting me just derail myself by saying, I can't, blah, 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 blah. And nothing was terribly hard, guys. I'm not going to say it was. It was just hard for me. And some of that comes down to not loving to juice, but we found solutions. We found the best juice ever at Trader Joe's,
Mhm.
that
That was
we
good.
can use in place of pressing your own grapes. I didn't want to go into the whole Lucy Ricardo stomping my grapes. But anyway, at the end of it, I felt very empowered. And the thing that was just the coolest tool in all of this was this new AO scan technology from Solex. And while I still have a lot of friends who just go, yeah, right, whatever, enjoy, the using the frequencies to heal particular things that are going on for me really has helped. Most recently, I came back from a trip to Texas, was here a few days, thought I had just springtime allergies, and picked up just a really nasty chest cold. And I've been able to use the frequencies, playlists that you can get from the WhatsApp group, or text Temna separately, and she'll send you a really cool playlist that you can set up. And I find that if I play those for, 72 hours, just banging, simultaneously banging myself with all these frequencies to try to help with congestions and stuff, it really does make a difference. In fact, this was getting bad enough that I called my physician and made an appointment. Now it's one of those things, by the time you make the appointment and then you turn the corner and then it's $50 if you don't come. So I went anyway. She really told me that there was nothing that she needed to do, that my body was already healing itself. And she didn't want to prescribe an antibiotic. She did prescribe a nasal spray. I'm debating whether to use it or not. But what I had an acupuncturist tell me a long time ago, that unless we have an infection of the blood or the brain and we're in the hospital and getting IVs and such, we really don't need these antibiotics. We have the tools within ourselves to heal ourselves. And I have found that to be true. I took my last antibiotic when I was about 40. So that's 27 years ago. And I've only taken a round of antibiotics once, and that was for an H. pylori infection, which really is kind of challenging to get rid of. So just know that you can create your own medicine cabinet. And that's something that Temna also provides that's really cool. She'll send out into the group or send out an email from Fullscript saying, hey, if you're looking for something to cleanse your liver, or if you're looking to have just stuff on hand in case you're getting a cold, here's a protocol that I recommend. And then you can stock up and put it in your medicine cabinet. So she's constantly helping you build your medicine cabinet so that you have the tools, and then you really only need to consult her when it's above and beyond the, 10 things that we all face on and off, whether it's indigestion or a cold or headaches or whatever. We have things to deal with those. But if something goes above and beyond that, something that your doctor has identified, She is right there to read your scan, to look and see what she is intuiting about your health and give you recommendations to come alongside what Western medicine is presenting.
My goodness. I have chills and I'm gonna get a little teary-eyed because that was very special to hear. I appreciate you, Evan. And it touches my heart because that's what I'm all about is wanting to expose to the world that going the doctor route, right? Medicine, surgeries, it is a route, but it's not the only route that you have. There's other options, there's other solutions. Our bodies are going to go through cycles of change. We're only maturing in age. We have different seasons in life, I call it, right? And those seasons you have to keep up with, but we want to keep up with them, with the most nutritious, healthy way possible, because then we'll have a better life, right? Because to me, Evan, you're the epitome of health, and you just basically shared your age. And I know for a fact that people that are your age aren't half as active as you. You're doing Pilates. What other activities do you enjoy?
Yeah, so I actually do Pilates between 4 and 5 times a week. I work with a trainer and lift weights twice a week. We have actually gotten me to the point where I can do 5 push-ups on my toes. Um, and I really try to walk my 10,000 steps a day, in addition to taking on some fun hikes in these beautiful North Carolina mountains that we have. And
Mhm.
one thing I would throw in here, Temna, and that is just your real investment in those of us who work with you. And as you know, I had my annual physical with my doctor. I have a thyroid condition, so I don't have a choice. I have to go once a year and get my prescription refilled. But we did talk about the fact that I have relatively high cholesterol. It's genetic. Everybody thinks it's genetic. But she had some very compelling stories to tell me as to why I really did need to address it. I have, pushed and pushed and pushed not to take any kind of pharmaceuticals for the cholesterol. And because I've reached the ripe old age of 67 and was only taking one pharmaceutical for my thyroid, it was unnerving to me that suddenly there were things. And I had reached out to the WhatsApp group saying, okay, you know, does anybody have some protocols for weight loss? Can we get some playlists for weight loss? And several people shared those. Anybody have something for high cholesterol? I think one of those is a response. And there was also there was a question about my blood pressure, which had never been an issue before. And so Timna immediately came back and said, hey, I just did a YouTube, a Wednesday talk on how to manage your blood pressure naturally, which I still haven't listened to, but I am going to. It's on my screen to listen to this afternoon, actually. Um, the thing that was really wonderful to me was I think she just sensed that I was really concerned about this, that it was playing with my head. And so she reached out to me and said, listen, I've run your scans. You're fine. Yes, you may need to take a couple of these things and get some stuff back in order. But here are some supplements that can help that journey. And I just want to tell you, I've run your scan. I didn't call her, I didn't ask, but we had a consult right there on the phone right before I went into a Pilates class that allowed me to take a trip that I was supposed to take without feeling as though I was going to have a heart attack on the plane. Because so many times our Western doctors have a tendency to use not necessarily scare tactics, but they're not giving us enough language, giving us enough knowledge in order to say, okay, this is something that is important, but not urgent. Your hair is not on fire. You're not about to keel over. And that's the kind of reassurance that I feel like Temna has always been able to give me. And I feel having her as part of my wellness team allows me that benefit of having another voice to come in and present a position that helps me as, I mean, I'm in control of my health and I'm in control of my body, but helps me make reasonable decisions about my care. And so that's something that I think is unique in all the practitioners that I've worked with. And guys, I'm really not kidding. I have worked with darn near everybody in Charlotte at one point or another, trying to get some energy stuff worked on. But this is a unique thing where I really feel she is invested in me as an individual and in my long-term health.
I love that because I am. I care about you,
I
Evan,
know.
and all those listening to this. I appreciate that. Yeah. A little bit. So backtracking on the approach that was unique. Um, so typically holistic practitioners, uh, everyone has a different variation of, approach to their assessment of the body. Some use blood tests. Some use, like you go to the acupuncturist and they're looking at your pulse. Some do energy work, right? So my approach is using the AO scanner because I like the approach of using frequencies, the frequency biofeedback scanner. That's what the AO scan provides. But I
Mm-hmm.
also like it because um, I'm able to share it with you, with
Mm-hmm.
clients, and like with you, Evan, and not only share the technology, but you're able to learn how to use it. And there's a learning curve. But what would you say to those that like what are the benefits of you even using and having the subscription to the technology yourself? The fact that you have access to it, it's an app, you can use it at any time. What how has it benefited you? Like you said, even when you weren't feeling well. So can you kind of go into that a little bit to help others to understand?
Yeah, I mean, you told me when we were going to do the 12-week program that this was really a part of it, that it becomes part of your sort of daily protocol, your daily self-care. And so there is, just with your subscription, there's Solex University that teaches you the basics. And it really is the basics. And I personally have not gone beyond that. I plan to, but have not yet. And what some of it is as simple as Temna says, go in and run the easy scan twice a day with the supplements and figure out where you're out of balance and listen to the frequencies and let it reset you. And at first, guys, okay, frequencies, really? Okay. And
Sounds
a
like
friend of
Star
mine,
Trek.
it does sound like Star Trek. And how does it know me? And how does it not attack my husband? And how is it doing all these things? And then I had a dear friend who also subscribed to the program. She said, okay, here's the thing. Well, I was part of the early telecommunications world. And she said, and I have absolutely no idea how when I push a few buttons on my phone, it knows to call you, but it does. And so I'm just going with the fact that so does this. And it was somewhat reassuring because I don't know how records work either. Like if you think about an LP, like that thing goes round and round and sound comes out. Like how does that work?
That's
I
a
don't
good
know how
point.
any of this works. All I know is this does work. And so in the morning and before I go to bed, I run something called an easy scan. And it looks at me and it tells me whether my chakras are in balance. It tells me whether my meridians are in balance. So one thing that it did was it replaced me going to an acupuncturist because I can do basically an acupuncture treatment any time of the day I want to. And if my meridians are out, I wait a few hours and let it try to reset me again. It also does give some information that I'm not necessarily all that clear on, but it tells me some foods that I might be sensitive to that day. It tells me some parasites or viruses that I might be dealing with. And guys, with this congestion, it immediately came up. It was parainfluenza 1 or C or something for a few days. It recognizes it at a cellular level. And so you're seeing things now. Temna has taken tons of education on this and really, and in in conjunction with her naturopathic training and her massage training and reflexology training and iridology training and all the things that she's been doing for the past 30 years, she gets a whole lot more out of this than I do. And so, what's cool, again, in conjunction, I can read this most of the time and say, oh, everything's in balance. I'm good. And I'll tell you the supplements thing in a minute, which is pretty cool. But if there's an out of balance, or if I'm seeing something show up that I just really don't understand, it's showing up time after time, 3 or 4 days in a row, I'm going to ping Temna and say, hey, is this something I need to worry about? And then she can actually run my scan from her office. I don't even need to be there. Again, please do not make me understand or make me explain this, because I can't, but it does work. And the supplement piece is you get to go into your supplement cabinet and you can put your supplement into a little shot glass, put it on your phone and have it scanned, and it goes into your supplement library. And so when you do your easy scan, it's reading to see what you might be missing at that particular moment in time. And so it'll tell you, take this extra supplement. And I found that really useful to, first of all, eliminate some supplements that never come up, and to know that perhaps this is one that I should take more regularly because it comes up an awful lot. So there's ways, and it really does help you save money on supplements. So in some ways, it's almost like muscle testing, except you don't have to go to somebody to be muscle tested. Your system will tell you whether you need that supplement or not. Does
Yes, I
that
love
does
it.
that answer your question?
Oh my goodness, above and beyond. Thank you. Yeah, because for years, I was doing manual muscle response testing, and it would take about 2 hours with the client, with one client. Then there were so many variables, so many factors when doing MRT. For instance, if the client was getting tired, if their arm was getting tired, if I
Mhm.
was getting tired, right? My energy from the whole process, my arm getting tired. So there's so many different variables to try to narrow down what you would need for your supplements. And then when you thought you narrowed it all down, you're looking at what's left, and you have, 15, 17 different formulas, which are all beneficial, but that's a lot, right? So now it's nice with the app, within one press of a button, like you said, you just, scan, and the body will reveal what is suggested for you in your reports for your supplements, narrowing it down. Boy, does that, 10 seconds to a couple minutes versus 2 hours. That's a
Mhm.
blessing. That's a blessing. And again, yes, the fact that it is remote, I think that's a beautiful thing, because you can use it anywhere you need to, because you have access to it as an app. And I'm in North Carolina. You're in North Carolina. That's a beautiful thing. But someone else may be across
Some
the
people
country.
aren't. Yep.
That's right. Exactly. So it's, for me to be able to do remote scans is just really valuable. So I'm grateful that you shared that. So
Yeah,
other
it
than
lets you, it certainly expands the people that you're able to help. So if anybody's listening to this and you're concerned because you're in another part of the country and, you know, as Temna said, she's in North Carolina, don't think twice about it. It doesn't matter. It
no, it
just
doesn't.
does not matter. You don't
Because
need to go to her. You don't need to go to her office, much as it is fun.
yeah, there's people I have overseas in Europe and Canada. It just doesn't matter where you are, because that's the beautiful thing about, the technology. Technology is everything. We love that. So
Mhm.
I am ever so grateful that you shared your story, your struggles. You were real. There are things, again, a wellness journey is no joke, like you said, but you took back control of your health. You definitely have adjusted your perceptions. And in order for you to maintain, you've had learning curves with that have just really been a benefit for you to just keep pressing forward, stay active, keep learning, opening, your mind to things like frequency energy medicine and the app and things like that. All these modalities that only support your health and your journey. So I appreciate the realness and you sharing. That's really kind of you. I'm really grateful for that. And I think that you really gave a nice view for everyone to realize that this isn't just a pill, right? That you take and all of a sudden, poof,
No.
everything's all hunky dory, great. This is truly your body, it's healing your body. Your body is mind, body, and spirit, right? So you have the mental and emotional and physical aspects. And it's recognizing that and doing all that you can to support it in different ways. Your own intuition, your own steps in the right direction with your eating habits, your healthy lifestyle, using your frequency, energy medicine, your herbal medicines. But it's all, that's why when we say it's a lifestyle change, it really is. But changing your lifestyle will change your life. And again, you're the epitome of health, Evan. You're doing a great job. And you're my inspiration because when I hit 67, I want to be doing 5, 6 days of Pilates and hikes and all those things myself.
That's right. That's right. That whole having compressed morbidity
I love
is
it.
my end goal. Thank you, Andrew Weil. I just want to live, 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 and then not wake up one morning.
I love that. Very
And
good.
hopefully this will help that to happen.
Absolutely. It sure will. All right. Thanks again, Evan.
All right, hon.